ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य यदशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। भूतैर्महद्भिर्जन्मापुरो निर्माय शेते यदभूष पूरुषा भूते गुणान् षोडश षोडशात्मक सोऽलं कृषिष्ट भगवान् वचांसि मे। श्री कृष्ण शरणं शरणागतं कथामृतं सततपीबतं भक्तिवेदान्तमार्गपन्थनं सर्वलोकऋषिदेव जन्मप्रसन्नं सर्वलोकऋषिदेव जन्मप्रसन्नम्। Hare Krishna, dear Prabhus and Matatis. So welcome to the morning Srīmad Bhāgavatam class. We're continuing our discussion on chapter 6, canto 1, title conversation between Narada and Vyasadeva. And here we see Narada is relating the accounts of his previous life when in the preceding verses, we saw that how he was a mere child of 5 and was very much the only shelter of his mother. And yet the poor mother, while going to milk the cow one night, was beaten by the serpent. And the important words in this verse, Srila Prabhupada mentions is Kripanam Kala Choditaha. Kala Choditaha is translated as by the influenced by the supreme time. So we have to very much be cognizant of this fact that above our heads, the Kala Sarpa, the serpent of time, is acting. And at any moment, death can come. So are we ready? Do we have our bags packed up? And are we ready actually to go? In that sense, our Guru Maharaj used to always say that we should be ready. And when we look at pastime of Narad Muni, we will see this fact. In the paper, Srila Prabhupada very nicely mentions that the mother was taken away from the world by the supreme will in order to put him completely at the mercy of Lord. When we only depend on Lord. My grandmother used to sing this bhajan about Lord Ram, and one of the stanzas of this bhajan was Asha ek Ram se duji asha chhod de, nata ek Ram ji se duja nata tod de. Sadhu sanga anga anga Ram ranga rangiye, Kama rasa tyaga pyare Rama rasa pijiye. So basically, what the translation is that Asha ek Ram ji said, Duji asa chhod de, that our hope only is Lord Rama, Lord Krishna. And when we place our hope in any other mortal living being, Prabhupada says that that's the greatest cause of despondency and disappointment, because a mortal being will surely disappoint us. And therefore, Nata ek Ram ji said, Duja Nata tod de, that our relationship should only be with Lord Krishna and Lord Ram, and at least internally we should break away all our bondages. And it is not easy, very difficult. Kunti Maharani later on will see, she says, Sneha Pasham Imam Chindim Dharat Pandu Subrisnisu, that, oh Krishna, you please sever this tie of affection in the heart that I have for my relatives, the Pandus and the Vrishnis. Our only relationship is actually with Krishna. And such internal detachment awoke in the heart of Narada Muni ever since he associated with the Bhakti Vedantist. Therefore, the stanza in the bhajan says, Sadhu Sangha Anga Anga Rama Ranga Rangiye. That association of devotees, association of sadhus actually is very contagious because they have Krishna consciousness. They are diseased by Krishna consciousness. It's a good disease to have. And when we associate with them, that bliss and happiness they are experiencing in Krishna Rasa or Rama Rasa, it definitely rubs onto us and we become infected with it. And that infection is the best infection we can have because that gets rid of our material attachments. So we'll continue with text number 10. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Tada tad aham ishasya bhaktanam shama abhipsataha anugraham manyamana pratishtham disham uttaram. Translation. So Narada Muni is continuing. I took this as the special mercy of the Lord, who always desires benediction for his devotees, and so thinking, I started for the north. Would anyone like to read the paper, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can read.
Yes, Mataji.
The confidential devotees of the Lord see in every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. What is considered to be an odd or difficult moment in the mundane sense is accepted as special mercy of the Lord. Mundane prosperity is a kind of material fever, and by the grace of the Lord, the temperature of this material fever is gradually diminished, and spiritual health is obtained step by step. Mundane people misunderstand it. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So let's look at word to word. Tada, at that time. Tat, that. Aham, I. So at that time, just imagine, if we are 5 years of age, and at that time our mother passes away, how will we react? And how did Narad Muni react? Narad Muni reacted in this way. Ishasya, of the Lord, Bhaktanam, of the devotees, Sham, mercy, Abhi, Pataha, desiring, Anugraham, special benediction. So Narad Muni saw Ishasya of the Lord, Anugraham, the special mercy of the Lord in this act. Why did this happen? Because Narad Muni already had cultivated internal detachment. So while we are in our current situation, we should develop Krishna consciousness, love for Krishna. It is not that material situation has to change. Material situation actually will never change. There is no such thing, material situation, as what we would call it as favorable. The situation we have to actually adjust. Whether it be bad or good from material perspective, as far as devotional service is concerned, it actually does not matter. When we internally develop devotion to Krishna, regardless of what our circumstances are, then actually we become qualified. And then whatever events happen in our life, we see it as anugraham, special benediction of the Lord. Manyamanaha, thinking in that way. So, if something like this happens to us, will we think in this way? If not, that means we still are not mature in our devotional service, and we have to um, excel our practices. Prastishtam departed Disham Uttaram in the northern direction. So Narada Muni immediately, without delay, departed for the northern direction. Any comments or questions on this verse?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Just a quick comment and a question, actually. You know how even yesterday you were speaking about the parental attachment to their kids. And then right now you mentioned about how Narad Muni was detached, internally detached from his mother in that way. And that's why he was able to take the steps that he did. So how do we, while having attachment towards our kids, how do we stay detached? Because I remember one time in Drumna Maharaj, there was a letter sent out. There must be some context to it, but there was a letter sent out to one of the Matajis, which said that if this is also your last life, so you have to be selfish. You can't be, as in the crux of the letter was, you can't be around your kids. Like you have to be around your kids, but you cannot be too attached because this is also your last life, and you have to be a little bit selfish in that way. So, Prabhu, how do we put all these things in perspective?
Yes, very nice question, Raji. So I see many examples actually amongst us of many mothers who are doing such nice devotional service, and at the same time, they are saving their children and the family. So it is not impossible actually to do devotional practices, and devotional practices actually will give us a perspective where we do not insanely become attached to the family members, and we can see things as they are and put things in perspective. And this is what chanting of, daily chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra does, and daily reading of Srīmad Bhāgavatam does. It makes us not negligent of ignoring our duties, but it makes us more careful that we do our duty in such an expert way that we are not burdened by the curse of negligence. Because at the end of the day, as the saying goes, damn if you do it, damn if you don't. But a devotee does not live by that conclusion, because while living, their hearts is always with Krishna, but at the same time, they are very nicely doing their duties, their material duties, and that's a sacrifice, we can say. And in example of Narad Muni, we will also see that the situation when it's tough, it is better, because the difficult situation make us work harder. So sometimes we see the family situation or our office situation or whatever material circumstances may be. If they are too easy, we become complacent and relaxed. However, if we are always challenged, like Srila Prabhupada's example, he was always challenged by his grasta situation, and he was always able to be steadfast. So once I heard a devotee say, our health should be less than optimum. Our wealth should be less than what we actually need. And our relationships actually should be less than ideal, because this will help us in being more dependent onto Krishna. For some reason, if all these circumstances are perfect, we have more than enough wealth, our health is 100%, our relationships are perfect, it's a question mark whether we will really be able to do sincere devotional service. because the happiness we are not able to digest or consume. I may be transgressing from the original question you asked, Mataji, but nonetheless, I'll do that. So all these things, janma, karma, vayo, rupam, vidya, shvairya, dhanadivihi, there's a verse in 8th canto of Srīmad Bhāgavatam we are looking, I think, on Sunday, that we may have good birth, our deeds may be super excellent, karma, janma, karma, vayo rupam, we may be very youthful and we may be having beautiful form, vidya ishvarya, we may be very knowledgeable and we may have a very opulent, wealthy life. Dhana dibihi, dhana means wealth. However, after having all this, yadi yasya na bhavet stambhas, that we don't become proud of all these things, then tatrayam mad anugraha, then we should regard that as Krishna's special mercy. So in that paper, Srila Prabhupada says, Krishna's special mercy is what? That he gives us all these things, good family, good husband, good wife, good children, and yet we don't become consumed and proud by it, and we dedicate everything to Krishna. Actually, that is Krishna's special mercy. However, if we are not able to do devotional service, even when circumstances are favorable and everything is right, then Krishna's mercy comes in form of a pinch. Prabhupada gives the example, like sometimes the mother or the father will pinch the child because the child is sick and he needs to take the medicine, he needs to wake up. So that pinch is there. So similarly, Krishna will pinch us. So it's better situations remain tough in one sense, or at least challenging, so we don't become complacent in our devotional service. I hope that gives some scope. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Prabhu, can I add something to this, if
Please,
you
Prabhu.
allow me? So when a situation comes when we have to when we have to do our duty to children and family and also get detached, the 15:7 Mamai Vancho Jiv Loke Jiv Bhuta Sanatana, that verse is very important to meditate upon, that everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna. So when we see our family also as part and parcel of Krishna, the attention becomes more, of course, in service, but at the same time, Krishna is in the center. Second thing is, as Prabhu says, when we are going through some challenges, some difficulties, obviously, very few of us will be able to go through that, without any support. So it's said that when some big life quake comes, when big tribulations come, we pass through three phases: trauma, pain, and healing. And at the time of trauma and pain, we obviously need a lot of support from the community. So on a practical level, we also have to offer support to others. But on a normal, in normal situation, if you understand that everyone is part and parcel of Krishna, then our service will become better with Krishna in the center. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So, the association is so important in that way, because even though we may know everything, we may know the philosophy, like here, Vyasadeva knows it, what ought to be do. He actually, before even Narada Muni came, Vyasadeva, he was contemplating, perhaps I have not glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead enough. That's why I'm feeling disappointed and depressed. However, in our personal lives as well, like the example of Vyasadeva is given, when we are too close to a picture or a portrait, it is said that we actually cannot see clearly. Even though we know what the portrait is, what the picture is, but if we are too close to it, we cannot see properly. Therefore, we need someone to pull us back from that situation and take us far back, and from there, they superimpose. So similarly, a guru, a spiritual master, is such a personality who sees us from far away, but does a proper diagnosis so that we, depending on that diagnosis and the prescription, we can get out of those difficult situations. The word to word of this verse, yes, we had covered this. Let's go to text number 12. Would anyone like to recite text number 12?
Prabhu, can I try?
Please, Mataji.
Pītāņjanapadam sattā puragrama vrajakararam heta harvatavatischa vananyupavanani cha. Thank you, Prabhu.
So, translation: after my departure, I passed through many flourishing metropolises, towns, villages, animal farms, mines, agricultural lands, valleys, flower gardens, nursery gardens, and natural forests. Would anyone like to read the paper?
Prabhuji, can I try, please?
Please, Mataji, go ahead.
Man's activities in agriculture, mining, farming, industries, gardening, etc. were all on the same scale as they are now, even previous to the present creation, and the same activities will remain as they are, even in the next creation. After many hundreds of millions of years, one creation is started by the law of nature, and the history of the universe repeats itself practically in the same way. The mundane wranglers waste time with archaeological excavations without searching into the vital necessities of life. After getting an impetus in spiritual life, Sri Narada Muni, even though a mere child, did not waste time for a single moment with economic development. Although he passed towns and villages, mines and industries, he continually went on to progressive spiritual emancipation. Srīmad Bhāgavatam is a repetition of history which happened some hundreds of millions of years ago. As it is said, herein only the most important factor of history are picked up to be recorded in this transcendental literature. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So, as in the word to word, as in the start of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, it is said, Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam. The Srīmad Bhāgavatam is in reality the only real thing, Atra Vastu, and it is auspicious. So, from the example of Narad Muni, we see that because Narad Muni had developed love for Krishna, and that resulted in internal detachment, when he was free, he was not allured by the various towns, villages, and the residents that reside in there. Otherwise, sometimes we see that actually when we become free from our material engagements, then rather than going to Krishna consciousness, we become victimized by allurements of material nature. But that was not Narad Muni. Therefore, while in our ashrams, Grahastha ashram, we have to practice devotional service in such a way that we develop a taste for Krishna consciousness. And then when the time for retirement comes, then Krishna consciousness comes naturally. There is no such thing as doing Krishna consciousness at time of retirement and doing it and not doing it now. Now, some people say, now is not the time, you're still young, you have family responsibilities. Why are you trying to waste your time? That is a nonsense proposition, as Prabhupada has put it here. Any questions, comments, Prabhu's Mataji's? We'll go to the next verse. Anyone would like to recite?
Prabhuji, can I try, please?
Yes, Machi.
Chitra dhatu vichitradrin ebha bhagna bhuja draman jalasayayan chiva jalan nalinah sura sevitaha chitra swaniha patra rathayar vibramad brahmara shriyaha. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank Translation: I passed through hills and mountains full of reservoirs of various minerals like gold, silver, copper, and though tracts of land with reservoirs of water filled with beautiful lotus flowers, fit for the denizens of heaven, decorated with bewildered bees and singing birds. Text number 18. Nalavenu sharas tamba kusha कीचक घवरम एक एवातियातोहम अद्राक्षम विपनम महत् घोराम प्रतिभयाकारम व्यालोलुका शिवाजरम. Translation: I then passed alone through many forests of rushes, bamboos, reeds, sharp grass, weeds, and caves, which were very difficult to go through alone. I visited deep, dark, and dangerous, fearful forests, which were the play yards of snakes, owls, and jackals. Anyone would like to read the purport, please?
I can read, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Please, Hare.
It is the duty of a mendicant Parivrajacharya to experience all varieties of God's creation by traveling alone through all forests, hills, towns, villages, etc., to gain faith in God and strength of mind, as well as to strengthen the inhabitants with the message of God. A sannyasi is duty bound to take all these risks without fear, and the most typical sannyasi of the present age is Lord Chaitanya, who traveled in the same manner through the central Indian jungles and enlightening even the tigers, bears, snakes, deer, elephants, and many other jungle animals. In the age of Kali, sannyasa is forbidden for ordinary men. One who changes his dress to make propaganda is a different man from the original ideal sannyasi. One should, however, take the vow to stop social intercourse completely and devote life exclusively to the service of the Lord. The change of dress is only a formality. Lord Chaitanya did not accept the name of a sannyasi, and in this age of Kali, the so-called sannyasis should not change their former names, following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. In this age, devotional service of hearing and repeating the holy glories of the Lord is strongly recommended, and one who takes the vow of renunciation of family life need not imitate the Parivrajacharya like Narada or Lord Chaitanya, but may sit down at some holy place and devote his whole time and energy to hear and repeatedly chant the holy scriptures left by the great acharyas like 6 Goswamis of Vrindavana. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. We see very nice paper by Srila Prabhupada. Firstly, that one who is enlivened in devotional service, he is not fearful, and he, for the sake of spreading Krishna consciousness, is able to take all the risks. Srila Prabhupada, the example was given that he was able, to be fearless even when the Germans were dropping bombs all over Calcutta. So I'm cognizant of the time now, so we'll continue discussion on this verse tomorrow. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious day. Grantraj Srīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.